Good morning, good morning, good morning. So good to see all of you this morning. It's always hard to stop all the conversation. I love the networking and connections that happen at the tables throughout the morning. My name is Jody Ozarski. I have the privilege of being on the team at the West Coast Chamber, and so happy to have you with us this morning. Whether you're here in person or joining us online, you're in for a treat today. So thank you for being a part of the day today. The chamber, the hot conversation this morning has been asking about our building. And so just a quick update. If you remember, we were on 8th Street over here across from Fields Fabric. We've sold that building and are in a temporary location right now at the corner of 8th and Waverly. That Holland Hospital owns, and that's been an interesting transition for us, but has gone well. But we're getting to be in the kind of home stretch of renovating our new space on the 3rd floor of the Next Center at 7th and College. So we're excited that we'll be able to welcome you in there soon, and would love to have you a part of the future that we're building there at the corner of 7th and College. So more to come on that. If you were paying attention to the slides this morning, we've started adding some new things on our slides, and that includes welcoming our new chamber members. Hannah's got those up now. Make sure that you take note of those things and make sure that you're welcoming to those new members. We love to make them feel a part of this chamber family, and we're thrilled to have some of them with us here this morning. This morning couldn't be possible without the incredible support of the sponsors that we have. This morning, hopefully you had a chance to stop by the table out in the lobby and talk to Rich Houdeman from Consumers Energy. Rich and his team have long been sponsors and supporters of our work, and that certainly is true for this morning. If you join me, please thanking Rich. We also have a program sponsor this morning. Independent Bank is our program sponsor today. And I am joined by Jewel Ron from Independent Bank. Words are hard. I need more coffee before I do this next time. Jewel, welcome. Thanks for being here. I told you we've been so thrilled. Kevin O'Keefe has long been a part of our ambassador team and just an all-around supporter of our chamber. So thanks for encouraging him and allowing him to be engaged in that way. So tell us a little bit, you've allowed Kevin to be involved in the chamber. What is it that, Kevin's like allowed, whatever. But really, what's the benefit to the bank that you have people like Kevin engaging in the chamber in this way?
Oh, I think, first of all, thank you for having us. We're thrilled to be affiliated with the chamber and with the Holland community and to be a sponsor, to be able to help put this on this morning. The chamber, you really do a couple of things that I think are critically important. You're an advocate for the business community, and that's very important. We're all doing different things every day in our business lives, and we're focused on different things, and yet there's some common elements that are helpful for all businesses, really around the state, but certainly in West Michigan. So the chamber is a big advocate. And then you bring people together, so collaboration and education. And and Kevin is kind of voluntold. I mean, no, he pulls all of us in. Are you kidding? Kevin's wonderful. We have a wonderful team here in West Michigan. A lot of them are here today. Kevin's a great example of that.
Kevin's going to go back to the office today. And the team, you guys have, 10 people here, 12 people here this morning, and be like, giving autographs later.
He's going to ask for a raise after this.
I vote in favor of that. So talk to us a little bit about your commitment to the Lakeshore. You all have moved out here and kind of built a presence here. What does this look like, and why the Lakeshore for you?
So Independent Bank is a community bank, okay? We're only in the state of Michigan. And yes, we've got a footprint around the state, but we're headquartered here in West Michigan. So my office happens to be Grand Rapids, but I'm born and raised in West Michigan. I grew up in Ludington. So this is home, broadly, West Michigan is home for all of us. And the Holland community especially, it's so vibrant, growing. We want to be good community partners. So supporting things like the chamber and the various programs. I won't name them all, but things like the Outdoor Discovery Center, the Community Foundation, Big Brothers Big Sisters, Good Samaritan Ministries. We've got a board member there. Just a number of things where we want a strong community. It benefits all of us, and it's vitally important that we give back.
We couldn't agree more. Thank you for the investment and the commitment that you're making to the Lakeshore community. Anything new and exciting on the horizon that you want to give us a sneak peek to today?
Yeah, just real quick, because I'm not the reason that you're all here this morning, so we're all looking forward to hearing Rob talk. But a couple of things. Number one, and it's relative to West Michigan. So we just opened a new location in Kalamazoo, so we're expanding our footprint throughout the state. And in fact, that office will have a close affiliation and be tied in with our Holland office. So broadly, kind of the Southwest Michigan, if you will. And then in Grand Rapids, which I know is still part of West Michigan. It's not Holland, but it's part of West Michigan. We're actually making an investment in downtown Grand Rapids. We've had a number of people in downtown, myself included, but we actually bought a building and we're renovating that to move into and bring more people into downtown Grand Rapids. So that's exciting. And then really, I think a cool thing, we passed as a bank, we passed a big milestone this year for our commercial banking group, which is what I had. So we passed $2 billion in our loan portfolio around the state of Michigan. And West Michigan's about $750 million. Think of it as the investment in the business community. $2 billion is a big investment in the state of Michigan, and $750 million is a big investment in West Michigan. So we celebrated that as a team, and that was a pretty cool moment.
Yeah, that's worthy of celebration. Joel, thank you for all that you're doing for West Michigan,
Thanks
for
for having
Holland,
me.
and the Chamber community. Will you join me in thanking Joel and the team from Independent Bank? All right, so if you come to a chamber event, there's always going to be a networking portion, and that is certainly true this morning. So we're going to give you a few minutes to chat with the people at your table. We're going to ask you to share your name, your organization, and then fall has been late to arrive, which I'm not mad about. But what are you looking most forward to this fall? Take some time to get to know your neighbors. Man, I hate stopping those conversations, but our speaker today is too good to put off. So this morning, I'm thrilled to welcome Rob Hughes to speak today. We've had Rob here for a number of workshops and things, and every time we get the highest ratings. People love his energy and the way that he involves the audience with the presentations that he has, and I'm sure that today will be no different. Rob is the CEO of StoryBrand Certified Marketing Agency, and continues to grow his repertoire by doing more and more of this kind of thing. But we're thrilled to have him here today and to learn from his experience. So with that, please join me in welcoming Rob Hughes.
Thanks, Jody. Hey, how much fun is this? Before we get going, I actually want you to participate in a little activity, okay? Now, here's the thing. I need every single person in this room to play along with this, okay? So raise your right hand. Everybody raise your right hand and say, got it. Okay, when I cue you, I want you to physically stand up from your seat. Listen here, some of you know the punchline. When I cue you, I want you to stand up from your seat and begin cheering like your favorite team just won the Super Bowl or World Cup. Are you with me? Got it? When I cue you, not before. 1, 2. Are you ready? 3. All right, thanks everybody. That's all we needed. Y'all can head home. I appreciate it. Hey gang, we have an enormous problem in the marketplace today. And the problem is this. A lot of really good organizations, entrepreneurs, business leaders, are fumbling and wasting an enormous amount of time and money with poor communication. It's true. I mean, how many of you, by chance, are sitting in this seat, you're part of the ownership structure or leadership of your team, of your organization? How many owners do we have in the room? How many people deal with people in the room? Raise your hand. Okay. You know, for a lot of founders, the struggle is real. When you're starting your organization, your business, the first job is to capture revenue and to bring it in the door. And ultimately, the crossover between wantrepreneur and entrepreneur is a vast difference. See, anybody can be a wantrepreneur, but to actually cross that bridge over into entrepreneurship, you need somebody to pay you for the idea that you had. So you try to communicate about it. You might have an idea to talk about what you do, and maybe you've been in business for some time. You prop up a website. There, we got a website. Talk about it over here. And then you say, well, we should probably be doing social media too, because that's all the craze. And so you start talking a little differently about what you do over in social. Some of you say, well, our competitors are doing direct mail campaigns. We should do that too. So you start sending out direct mail. And maybe you hear about social media or SEO, search engine optimization. You start talking differently with content. Before you know it, it's possible to have 15 different messages working 15 different ways. Problem is, you're confusing your audience. You know, similarly, if we were out on a cattle ranch and you grabbed a branding iron and you brand the back of a cow, you know who owns it, right? But if you grabbed a second iron on top of the first, a third on top of the second, a fourth on top of the third, well, pretty soon, you would just have confusion. Probably a ticked-off cow. Yet that is the approach that so many take in the marketplace when it comes to communication. But if you will do the work and create one clear branding iron first, then you can take that clarity to your client conversations. You can take that clarity to your website, to social media, to your content strategies and campaigns. That, my friends, is the thing that creates one clear and cohesive message that can work 24 hours a day, 365, to drive ideal qualified leads to your virtual front door. That is the power of clear communication. Yet we struggle. We don't start there. It's possible to put hours and hours and even days in a boardroom to come up with the perfect message to communicate what we do and land with something like this. Anybody ever seen this business before? Raise your hand if you're aware of this company. 0? Perfect. Perfect. Dave, you're voluntold. Dave, stand up. Dave, study this business. I just have one question for you, Dave. What do they do? What do you think? They are innovative. With what? With solutions, says Dave. Any other guesses? What does this organization do? I've heard thank you, Dave. I've heard software developer. I've heard travel agent. Did you see the head of hair at the bottom? I didn't initially, and I started looking. Travel agent? I've heard a lot of different software. Do you want to know what this company does? It doesn't matter. Because if you can't answer that simple question inside of 8 seconds, you would bounce back to your Google search results and you would move on to their competition, wouldn't you? Words matter. In fact, people make decisions. They choose who to work with. They purchase upsold products at the teller window. Lake Michigan Credit Union, where you at? There you are. People engage at a deeper level when they find the words that matter to them. It's true. In fact, who's another friend? Who's the most courageous person in the room? Somebody. Who's got courage? You do. Stand up. What's your name? Nathan. Everybody give Nathan a round of applause. Now, Nathan, have we rehearsed anything prior to this exact moment? Absolutely not. So are you a plant in the audience for anything that I've... Okay, neither was Dave. Dave's like, what is going on? Nathan, I just have a couple of questions for you. There's a small e-commerce company that's really making headways in the headlines these days that you may have heard of. Amazon.com? Not familiar.
My wife is.
Okay, Nathan's wife is. All right, so Nathan, just a couple of questions. What's the most recent thing you think your wife purchased from Amazon?
She purchased a thing to make shot glasses out of peppermints. They were actually
All right, we're looking for another volunteer. Shot glass peppermint. Nathan, I got to give you a high five. It's the first time I ever heard that. You can buy shot glass peppermint thingies from Amazon. You can buy clothes from Amazon. Nathan, did you know you can actually buy books from Amazon.com?
I did at one point.
You can buy anything. Now, at the risk of this being really weird, let's talk about the shot glass peppermint thingy. Okay? It's Amazon. So walk us through the buying process for the shot glass peppermint thingy. Step one, you go to the search bar. What do you think you type in? Shot glass peppermint thingy? Even that, with that being so specific, how many options do you think pop up for Nathan? Does one solo product pop up? There's probably a few versions of it. Can we say at least 3? Okay, I mean, it's the world, right? Let's say we've narrowed it down, and 2 of those products are at a 3-star rating, and 1 is at a 4.5-star rating. Which one does your wife purchase? The 4. No, listen, did you hear this? Nathan's wife purchases nothing under a 4-star rating. Did you catch that? Does she even read the reviews? Does she go to the high one first or the low one first?
We go for the middle.
You look for the middle. And when you found the words that validate your purchase, you put it in your cart and it arrives next day. That's great. Last question for Nathan. And this is the biggie. Now watch this. Nathan, how many words are on Amazon.com? With a B, Nathan said billions. Anybody count? Any CPAs in the room? Anybody actually count the words? Douglas, I'm not picking on you yet. Now watch this, team. Billions of words in the Amazon. The vast majority are irrelevant to Nathan's wife's purchase decision for the peppermint thingy. Almost subconsciously, she sifted through the Amazon to find the very few words that mattered to her. Team, the same is true for your prospect. The same is true for that client or customer interaction. The same is true for the boss that you're trying to influence with your new idea. People are giving you their attention simply looking for the very few words that matter most to them. My only question is, how far do they got to go searching before they find them? Let's give Nathan a round of applause. You see, a lot of organizations, a lot of great idea people, they know the 10,000 words that describe what they do. But if I asked you, what are the 10 words that matter most to your audience? How would you answer? Words are powerful. People make decisions when they encounter the words that matter to them. So how do you make those words? Well, there's 2 ingredients. If you're taking notes, write this down. There are 2 ingredients to mix. If you want to create a clear and compelling message that has the ability to influence others, it has to do these 2 things. Number 1, your message must directly appeal to the need of the audience. It's got to appeal directly to their need. And number 2, it must be said simply. So simply, they don't have to overthink to get it. Messages that appeal to your audience's need and are said simply win. Now, case in point, Anybody ever been on like a 3-4 hour road trip before? Like at least half of it, probably everybody. Let's say we were driving over to the far end of Chicago. We'd be driving along the way. Do we see a bunch of advertisements coming at us on the highway? Billboards, in fact. How many billboards do you think are on the way from here to Chicago? Again, Douglas, have you counted? Hundreds? I mean, if you told me 1,000, I wouldn't bat an eye, especially as you go through Gary, Indiana. You start seeing all that, don't you? Just like every other. Do you memorize all 100 billboards along the way? Of course not. They're messages that are flying at you. But now watch this. Let's say you're driving along, and it's getting close to the lunch hour. And you see soup and sandwich combination, 7 more exits. 3 more exits. Okay, this is my exit, time to turn off. Or maybe you leave a wonderful breakfast and coffee meeting and you see rest area. 9 more exits. Let's go 75 miles an hour. Let's go 80 miles an hour. Okay, this is my exit, time to turn off. Anybody ever been there before? Be honest. What's happening? That message in your moment of need is meeting you right where you're at. And to the second point here, do we see all of the ingredients listed in the mayonnaise that sandwich has on it? Of course we don't. We get a picture at best. The message that catches our attention, pierces through the veil of our attention and draws us in, appeals directly to our need and is said simply. Simply. The 10 words that matter most. Because you see, every piece of information that you use to explain what you do or what your idea is, it's as if you've handed somebody an 8-pound bowling ball. Now, anybody been bowling before? Come on, show of hands. We're having some fun here. Most of us in the room at least understand the concept of bowling. An 8-pound bowling ball. Can you hold an 8-pound bowling ball? Of course. Douglas, we spent too much time in the lobby. I'm going to just make you my guinea pig for this thing. You're just my buddy now. Douglas, if you don't know him, works for Hungerford, CPA, but they do a lot of things. They do wealth management like Tyler. They have a lot of different things that they offer. So, if I'm Douglas or Tyler, and I share with you that we do college savings plans for families, can you hold that piece of information? Of course, you can understand like Rob's college savings plans. But what if I continue on and I say we also do retirement plans for people who are thinking of retirement in our wealth management firm? Now that's 2 pieces of information. Okay, college savings. Is it possible to hold 2 8-pound bowling balls? Okay. If I continue on and I give you a 3rd piece of information, and I say, actually, the other thing we do is tax advantage giving strategies to help you with your generosity at the end of the year. Well, that's a slippery bowling ball. There's a lot there. We're in West Michigan. You ask for my money? 3 bowling balls. Can you hold 3 bowling balls? Anybody ever been bowling with kids? You know it's dangerously possible to hold 3. But here we go now. Watch this. What happens if I keep going? And I explain another thing, and I hand you a 4th bowling ball. How many of them do you end up dropping? You drop all of them. You check out. This is where your eyes start to gloss over, and you're like, oh my gosh, information overload. I didn't ask that much yet, Rob. I just want to know what you do. Anybody ever been in like a cocktail reception or a breakfast networking event where, sorry, that's a little personal. Too soon. Or you say, what do you do? And the person goes on like a 7, 8, 9, 10-minute explanation of what they do. And you like find yourself looking past them. You're looking for somebody to bail you out. Anybody ever been there? But not this morning. Let's just disarm. Not this morning. But somebody you know has dealt with that before, right? Blink twice if it's you right now. It's true. We're checking out because it's too much information. So my friends, remember this. When you're sharing your ideas, when you're communicating, write this down. The rule of 3s. literally take time, grab a pen, write this down. This is $1 million idea. I'm giving it to you right now. The rule of threes. The rule of threes is powerful. It's authoritative. It's memorable. The rule of threes. Anytime you're making a list, anytime you're writing an email sequence, anytime you're writing social media or explaining you got to categorize whatever the thing is, the benefits, into three. Cluster of three. The rule of threes is powerful, it's memorable, it's authoritative. Powerful, memorable, authoritative. Oh no, you're voluntold. What's your name? Gary, let's give Gary a round of applause as Gary stands up. From now on, everybody's just going to be looking down at their notes and not locking eyes with Rob, and that's okay. Gary, did you grow up in the United States?
I did.
Michigan?
Yep.
Holland? No. Okay, it's all good. We still love them, right?
Hudsonville.
Hudsonville's close enough. Yeah. Okay, Gary, as a child growing up, you were taught that if your body were to catch fire, what do you do?
Stop, drop, and roll.
Stop, drop, and roll. And Gary, if you're in trouble, who do you call? 911. Now, Gary, I just have another quick question. When was the last time that you were formally trained to stop, drop, and roll? Do you remember? Grade school, which was like 15, 30, 25 years ago, 20 years ago? Grade school, decades earlier. Have you rehearsed stop, drop, and roll in the last few decades? No. Yet almost subconsciously, on the tip of his tongue, he was ready with it when we asked. The rule of threes is memorable, it's powerful, it's authoritative. Thank you, Gary. Let's give Gary a round of applause. The rule of threes is powerful. Anytime you're writing a proposal, you're writing an email, you may say, well, there's not just 3 points to my proposal. Do what you need to do to categorize it into 3 buckets of detailed content. The rule of threes. People do not read websites anymore, they scan them. If you don't know what the 3 most important points are before you go into your boss's office to talk about this idea that you really want to see come to fruition, this in the office is not the place to work that out. You've got to have clarity of what the main 3 points, the most important 3 things are, because the rule of threes is powerful, it's memorable, and it is authoritative. So use that in your communication. Catalog, organize your information, because if you confuse, you lose. Now, it does not have to be that way. How do you come up with the messaging, the full story messaging that can be used to help compel a human audience to engagement? The way you do it is through the process of story. It's the most effective means of communication. And today we just have a quick flyover, but we've created resources, step-by-step resources that can walk you through this. So I'm going to give you a quick orientation of a couple of pro tips I think would be the most helpful and transformational for you. Now, when we say story is nothing new. The essence of story has been around for thousands and thousands of years. And if you really follow it, the best told stories, they follow a consistent frame and pattern. Now, you've seen this before. In any movie you've watched or book that you've read, there's probably a main character, right? The hero's journey here. There's a hero, the center of the story. That hero encounters a problem somewhere along the line, then meets a guide, which is the stronger, been there, done that, got the t-shirt character, who gives the hero a plan to overcome the problem. And then there's that moment of doubt, that hesitation, where the hero says, do I really have what it takes? Should I really say yes to this idea? Should I really make budget available for this team member's thought? Should I really purchase from this person? Should I really sign this engagement? And that's that moment of doubt where you've got to have a clear call to action to say, yes, here's the next step. Because if they don't, the final scene is this contrasting scene of failure and success. If they don't take action, here's what won't happen. But if they do, here's what's possible through success. So a couple of pro tips as you're crafting your story for your message and that branding iron. First, let's talk about the hero, the center of the story. We've got to be really clear with what does your audience desire? What do they want? If you're taking notes, the question that you're answering here as you're defining your main central character is simple. What do they want? I didn't say what was your idea about. I said, what does your audience want? What are the priorities of your upline supervisor? What are the priorities of your prospect? What are the priorities of whoever you're trying to influence? You've got to start from a place of understanding their desires and their hope, because when you start talking about their desires, they start listening. So be really crystal clear with what does your character want? What do they want? If you can't answer that, you have not earned the right to start the conversation. Be curious. Be curious. Yep, you can write that down. That's a good one. I got you. Once you've defined what the character wants, the next step is to understand, well, what are the problems that are preventing that? Now, the problem is actually the most powerful part of a storyline. If I told you that the next action-adventure film's coming out in the theater, and the whole movie is about the main character taking her daughter out for ice cream, would you see that film? Unless like Denny Allen's is in the room, he'd be like, Hudsonville ice cream? Yes, we go. We're in it. Let's go. So, if on the way to ice cream, her daughter gets kidnapped and now she's got to rescue her, is that a film you'd go see? Well, what changed? There's a clearly defined problem. The problem is the story, gang. Yes, that is a good one to write down. Good idea. Write it down. The problem is the story. The problem is the story. The problem is the thing that your prospect is laying in bed at night thinking about. The problem is the story. The problem is the thing they're probably talking to their brother-in-law or sister-in-law at Sunday cookout about. The problem is the story. The problem is the thing that they are probably Google searching or interacting with ChatGPT to try to understand reasonable solutions for. The problem is the story. Wasn't going to teach this, but I'm going to do it now. Write this down as like your homework. Brainstorm a list of 52 questions your ideal prospect would Google search. This is a good activity. Brainstorm a list of 52 questions your ideal prospect would Google search. Then write or record content answering those questions. Now, why did I just say 52? 52 weeks in a year. So what have we just now done? We've built a 52-week nurture campaign that you can position yourself as the authoritative expert in areas that your ideal prospect is actually interested in. So you've melted away the salesy, the icky feeling of having to call, hey, just follow it up, just follow it up, just follow it up, just follow it up. You know that song? Now it's, hey, I was thinking of you, and we recently published this piece. I think you'd really find it valuable. Now you put yourself as an authoritative guide in their lives. So the problem is the story, and when you start serving and speaking to that, if we went to your webpage today, if we picked up your brochure, if we asked you about your idea, would you start by describing the problems that it's here to solve? See, I got an MBA in entrepreneurship. In actual training and schooling, you learn feature and benefit marketing all day long. This flips it on its head. You've got to start with the problems that your idea or product is here to solve, because the problem is the story. So, here's another magic thing. I just want to hammer this home because it's so powerful and helpful for you. The problem is the story. Now, I have a silent video. Don't worry, Hannah, this is no audio. I have a silent video I want to share to help illustrate how important the problem is the story is. So watch this. People buy solutions, there's no audio, buy solutions to their problems. Now, I'm pretty sure she's solving breakfast problems. Maybe rice, I don't know. I'm not entirely sure that I want to know what problems she is solving. But it's true. The people buy solutions to their problems. Next, we enter the guide. The guide is that been there, done that, got the t-shirt. Now, there's 2 ingredients to mix as you're creating your guideness: empathy and authority. Here's the interesting thing. I'm a young buck, 42 years old. I know I don't look it, but I'm 42, and it's good. Birthday's in a couple months, I'll be 43, but for now I'm 42. And if I could just be honest the whole time I've been honest with you, in 42 years, I've been engaged in professional therapy as a client for probably 19 or 20 of those 42 years. In fact, I'm of the belief that there is strength in many advisors. There's a book I've read that just told me that. And so I'm of the belief that when you surround yourself with wise counsel, actually that fortifies a stronger life in leadership. Now, in 20 years of sitting in therapy rooms and counseling rooms, people retire. Counselors retire, move on, or my needs shift and change. And so I've gone through a few intake sessions. Real quick, am I alone? Is anybody else, just kind of blink twice if it's you. Anybody else know what I'm talking about, that intake session with a counselor, therapist? Where we have that 52 minutes together, and he's saying, Rob, tell me what's on your mind. And I just begin spewing all of my problems. I got this broken, and this thing going on, and this person, and this thing, and this situation. And they listen for 52 straight minutes of me just bombing it on them. And in that final 3 minutes of our session, the therapist could look me back in the eyes and say, so Rob, what I think I hear you saying is, this is your problem. And my shoulders drop. In that moment, I feel seen. I feel heard. I feel like somebody gets it. You know what I'm talking about? It's a powerful bond when another human enters my world so deeply in 52 minutes that they can put words to something I've been trying to explain for months. That simply reciting my problem to me builds an enormous amount of empathy that nothing could replace. In fact, it's in those intake sessions where I say, you get me. You see me. Can you help me? I'm looking for a guide to help me through this. That, my friends, is the power of truly understanding the problems that your ideal prospect, that your audience is faced with. This isn't just about manipulative marketing. This is about caring so deeply that you enter their world with a deep sense of empathy, that there's a bond that's created, that naturally they look to you for the authority to help. That's a lot and a lot of heavy for the morning, but I'm here to tell you that is the magic, the connection, power of human potential, and ultimately what it looks like to effectively assert yourself as the guide. The pro tip here, by the way, is that you are the guide. They are the hero. Whoever you're talking to, let them be the center of the story. Your position here is to be the guide. Too many people walk around trying to be the hero of their own story. They try to make it all about themselves. They try to jockey for position, climb the corporate ladder. I don't know, do whatever your scenario is. They try to do the feature and benefit marketing, say how great they are, try to convince them to want what you have to offer. But if you just start by really understanding their world, whoever they are, you'll naturally position yourself in such a way that you can be there to help. So, be the guide. That's the pro tip, and write that down. Be the guide. You're not the hero. They are. You be the guide. Once you've established that connection, you've given, this bond has created itself, Now they're ready for a plan. Well, what is your plan to help? How many steps do you think you should have in this plan? 3, the rule of threes. Here we go again. So you need to be crystal clear in whatever that conversation is, what are the next 3 steps that you could lay out? Well, I wanted to bring this proposal to you, boss, so if you like it, the next step is for us to gather the department together. We can communicate our decision to them there. Then we're going to start the implementation. Then we're going to measure against that to make sure we actually solve the need that you stated you needed in the quarterly. 1, 2, 3. Or, first step for our financial service firm is, well, you start by scheduling a visit. Step 2 is we're going to actually put together a plan. And step 3, we'll execute that plan alongside with you so that you retire on time. 1, 2, 3. Be crystal clear of what are the 3 steps that you're asking them to take. People need a step-by-step plan to follow. And if you lay it out, they will. Lay it out too early and they'll doubt, they'll be hesitant. But if you've created that emotional bond, that connection, you've entered their world, it's fundamentally different. You've earned their trust to have them follow. Then the final scene, I'll just kind of wrap the story part of it with this. There's that call to action. The call to action is powerful. In fact, let's hang here for half a second. If some of you have got a pen and paper, whatever you're writing on, draw 2 vertical boxes side by side. Do this right now. 2 vertical boxes side by side. Think of these like fundraiser thermometers. Like the type that fill with red, you know, the fundraiser. Anybody? Nonprofits in the room? Okay. The first thermometer, I want you to label it risk. Risk. Okay, now you're writing it down. Okay, I like that. Yeah, risk. Ooh, that's a good one. The second, label it relationship. Relationship. Risk and relationship. Now, first, risk. Tyler. Let's say I don't know. Tyler is a wealth manager, financial advisor. Is that still true? Okay, I'll just pick on you for half a minute because I do know Tyler, but we haven't rehearsed anything in this. So let's say I'm at a coffee shop after leaving my meeting with Douglas, my CPA. My wife and I own a manufacturing company, but we're thinking of selling it. And Douglas tells me they just ran a business valuation. This thing's going to be worth $14 million in liquidity. Like, I'm going to have some cash. And let's say I don't know Tyler, but we're at a coffee shop together, or my wife and I are, and Tyler's sitting over here at a different table. And he overhears the fact that I'm going to have $14 million. And he's an investment guy. Seeing me and my wife over there, here's Tyler. Puts his cup down. Scooch, scooch, scooch. Excuse me, sir. We've not met yet, but I just heard you're going to have $14 million. I'm Tyler. Here's my card. I'm an investment manager. I'd love to take good care of it for you. Send it on over. Let me see. Here's a form. You can send it to me. Where is that on my risk meter, high or low? Because if we don't know each other, where are we in relationship? All the way at the bottom. Now, reset. Reset. We're sitting at a coffee, maybe we're at a wedding reception, Tyler and I. We've not met before, but we're at a wedding reception, table similar to what you're at. We're just talking about the bride and groom, and eventually he leans over and says, so Rob, what do you do? And I say, well, I'm actually going to be selling my business here, and yada, yada, manufacturing. Really? Well, Rob, our firm wrote an ebook, 3 things any business owner can do to increase EBITDA before selling their company. Would you like me to send that to you? Oh, Tyler, that'd be awesome. We're building relationship. Then I read the thing. EBITDA is a fancy word, but like actually understanding that means like the value of my company. There's a part of the calculation. I'm reading and I'm learning. We're building relationship. Then I see that Tyler's doing a web event about business exit strategies, and I sign up for it. We're building relationship. Maybe there's an in-the-office free consult. We're building relationship. What's happening to risk? It's going down. The principle is this, team, and write this down. Relationship mitigates risk. Relationship mitigates risk. Relationship mitigates risk. Too many businesses walk around with a metaphorical wedding ring in their hand, asking people the first time they meet, hey, would you like to get married? Okay, not you. Would you like to get married? Okay, maybe not. Would you like to get married? Would you like to schedule an appointment? Would you like to buy from me? I got good water. Would you like to buy from me? No? You? And it's too much too soon. We've got to take our prospects, our audiences, on a few dates. So you need to be asking yourself as we're winding down here this morning, when relationship is really low, what's a low risk call to action? When relationship is beginning to form, when my boss is beginning to warm up to the idea, what's an intermediate step call to action? Maybe it's a team meeting in the conference room or other kind of intermediate steps. When relationship is really, really building but not quite ready, do I have kind of a next step call to action? And when it's hot and ready, am I ready as well? Have I actually laid out the clear call to action I want that person to take? So as you're laying out your calls to action and thinking about that, you got to be thinking, where am I with my audience in relationship, and then create a call to action plan that warms them to the end zone. Are you tracking with me? Because relationship mitigates risk. And if you want your idea to be seen, deployed, executed on, measured against, it needs to go live. If that's going to happen, you need to be honest with yourself of where are you in relationship with the people that are a part of that. Because relationship mitigates risk. And then the final closing scene, of course, is that failure and success. That makes a great social media post. It's all about contrast. Contrast is compelling. Show the befores and after. If you're in construction, show a before and after of what it's like to work with you. That is the beautiful thing of it. And that creates kind of that clear story in one shot. And remember, clients are not looking for a hero. They are indeed looking for another guide. So let me close with this, team. Where we started. If you confuse, you'll lose. But it does not have to be that way. Take your notes from this morning, clarify that one clear branding iron first, use it to attract the audience, the ideal prospects, the influence that you seek. And may 2026 be the best year that you've ever had. Now, final next steps here. There's 3 potential next steps after a session like this. Some of you came for the bacon, because the bacon is fantastic. And that's great. I've heard exceptional things about the bacon. In fact, I'd love to have a to-go box of the bacon. I think that'd be awesome. Okay? We've all come to great sessions in the mornings and in the evenings and different events, taking copious notes. Go back, put them on the shelf, and move on with your day. It is safe. We're still friends. I still love you. It's all good. You can do nothing with any of this. My hope was to give you a couple of easy nuggets that you could grab one thing. Rule of 3s. Let's do that. So let's just call a spade a spade. You can do nothing with even the gold mine stuff that we laid on the ground. That's cool. We're still friends. Number 2, I really hope that there were a few nuggets that you wrote down or memorized that you can use to implement and do this. We have created, as an agency, we've created step-by-step self-guided resources as well, like how to craft your whole message. It's like literally the ebook to walk you through doing this for yourself. So if you're starting an idea, you've got an idea that you're processing, maybe it's a business or you're trying to maybe close more deals this year, this ebook, I'm sure, can help you increase your batting average. If you'd like that, just check the top box on one of those cards that are at your table, and we'll get it to you. There's a card that's on your table, we'll send it to you. The other thing that we've written is a resource about how to build a full relationship system for your organization. So like from awareness to consideration, commitment, and driving loyalty, which is where referrals come from. Those 2 resources, message and how to build relationships systematically, I mean, we get feedback time and time again. They are powerful, and we will give them to you if you want. Just check that top box. And then, of course, as a friend of the chamber and as a member of the chamber, if anybody wants help, our agency stands ready to support you through that. But remember, if you confuse, you lose. It doesn't have to be that way. Clarify your message and be more effective in the year to come. Thanks for your time.
Rob, thank you. we kept giving each other side eye at the table, like, ooh, we're doing that, the 3 thing, Catalyst Convener Champion, yes, we got 3. But there was other spots that was like, oh, that makes sense. Loved how you built relationship at the end here and lowered the risk for us, so that was fantastic. What a great morning. I hope you were as challenged as I was to go back and see how we might be able to implement these things within our own organizations. There's some great nuggets there. Will you join me also in thanking our Morning Mingle sponsor and our program sponsors, Consumers Energy and Independent Bank, one more time. So a couple of things before you go. Next Wake Up West Coast in November is at a different date than usual because of Veterans Day. So we'd love to have you join us on November 18. We're going to be digging into AI and looking at why creative intelligence is the key to driving the new era of human and AI collaboration. Holy smokes, that's long. But I don't know about you, there's a lot to be uncovered there and unpacked in a great resource. So I hope that you'll join us in November. So with that, I'll say thanks for being here this morning and go make it a remarkable day. Thanks, everyone.